welcome to today's Quran study. So we'll be reading from Surah 24, starting at verse 24. Let's all seek refuge in God from Satan the rejected. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. 24. The day will come when their own tongues, hands, and feet will bear witness to everything they had done. On that day, God will requite them fully for their works, and they will find out that God is the truth. The bad women for the bad men, the bad men for the bad women, the good women for the good men, and the good men for the good women. The latter are innocent of such accusations. They have attained forgiveness and a generous recompense. So, picking up, just real quick, looking back at the previous verse, because if we were to take it, verse 26, the end of verse 26, it's verse 23 is discussing about those who falsely accuse married women who are pious believers have incurred condemnation, and that's a gross sin. So the following verse is applicable to that, of course, but not just applicable to that verse and that accusation, but it's everything. It's every action that we do. And so thinking about this in the context of sin, transgression, a submitter who wants to be purified and is actually submitting to God is not is going to believe this, and henceforth they're gonna live their lives accordingly. And you can see the traits of someone who has submitted to God and who reverences God, and is going to be very careful with all of their actions and the words they choose. And of course, this isn't to say we won't fall into sin and make mistakes, but we have to keep every moment of every day, we have to keep moving forward and constantly repent when we fall into sin. But just more focusing on the previous verse from the last page and these subsequent verses. Verse 26, it says, the latter are innocent of such accusations. So meaning the good women, this is the latter here in this part of the sentence, and the good women and the good men. So because of course they're not going to commit these types of deeds, or these types of actions, and if such accusations came their way, they're innocent. God is telling us that they're innocent thereof because they know that this stuff is repulsive to them. It's the devil's works to stir up such false accusations. And the verse says they've attained forgiveness and a generous reward, and especially for those who start in such baseless accusations. We can see verse 24 telling them what their fate is, and that nothing is hidden from God. That God is the ultimate truth, and this is a day that everybody will find out that God is the truth. We know that God is the truth. As submitters, we've heard the call and we've believed in our Lord, and we've been so lucky enough to make it this far. But it doesn't mean that the journey or the test is over. In a lot of ways, it's just begun. So, but you see, we can see that such people that do these types of things don't believe in the hereafter. They don't believe that they're going to be held accountable for their works, and that's why verse 25 says they will find out that God is the truth, and that whole time they were being recorded, and everything that they said with their tongues, hands, and feet, they'll bear witness to everything they've done. Verse 27, divine etiquette. O you who believe, do not enter homes other than yours without permission from their inhabitants and without greeting them. This is better for you that you may take heed. If you find no one in them, do not enter them until you obtain permission. If you are told, go back, you must go back. This is pure for you. God is fully aware of everything you do. So this is a divine etiquette, as the subtitle says, and it's telling us, what type of behavior, and what it's teaching us something here, because these are things, perhaps that, I mean, generally speaking, it comes natural, I'd say, to most people, but there's some parts of the world, or some cultures, or maybe the culture at the time, I'm not exactly sure, in Arabia, that that perhaps this was being done without these people knowing. And so God is the most merciful to correct and send information on how, like very specific information on what type of etiquette we should have with each other, and then what is righteous. So this is and this is makes perfect sense too. So we have to have permission from the inhabitants of homes that aren't ours, right? And also, you also want to greet them, especially as we've read. I don't know if we've read it, if we've covered it so far, but a greeting as blessed by God, salam alaikum, and saying this is better for you that you may take heed. So, also, this is going to be upheld by those who believe and those who have submitted. Like we read the verses, I think, in Surah 22 about those who believers reverence the rights of God, right? They reverence the rights, meaning they follow the rights that are given to the people by God, and they uphold them. 29, you commit no error by entering uninhabited homes wherein there is something that belongs to you. God knows everything you reveal and everything you conceal. So again, this is further clarification, or about uninhabited homes. If we have something that belongs to us, there's no error. God is telling us that it's okay to enter. And of course, we're not, and we're entering it probably most likely to retrieve this item. We're not going to enter it, and retrieve our item and then just set up home or something, and then, but of course, we can see what the verse is discussing, and God knows everything we reveal and everything we conceal. And of course, these are homes that are uninhabited too. So you have something that belongs to you, and it's uninhabited. You don't. There's no error or mistake on your part for going in and getting what belongs to you, because you have some type of property in there. Verse 30, dress code for the believers. Tell the believing men that they shall subdue their eyes and not stare at the women, and to maintain their chastity. This is pure for them. God is fully cognizant of everything they do. So this is there's a footnote for this. Well, there's also the verse 30. And tell the believing women to subdue their eyes and maintain their chastity. They shall not reveal any parts of their bodies except that which is necessary. They shall cover their chest and shall not relax this dress code. They shall cover their chest and not relax this code in the presence of other than their husbands, their fathers, the fathers of husbands, their sons, the sons of their husbands, their brothers, the sons of their brothers, the sons of their sisters, other women, the male servants or employees whose sexual drive has been nullified, or the children who have not attained puberty, who have not reached puberty. They shall not strike their feet when they walk in order to shake and reveal certain details of their body. All of you shall repent to God, O you believers, that you may succeed. So this, we'll read the footnote for these two verses. So dressing modestly, therefore, is a trait of believing men and women. The minimum requirements for a woman's dress is to lengthen her garments. We can see in Surah 33, verse 59, and to cover her chest. Tyrannical Arab traditions have given a false impression that a woman must be covered from head to toe. Such is not a Quranic or Islamic dress. So we have the exact dress code here, and we can see that nothing of hardship is being imposed upon us either, right? And this is very easy and straightforward, and it's for the best it's of everybody. It's for our own good and for the good of others. Of course, those who believe. Um, and we can see that the tyrannical Arabs are still following this today. Not just the Arabs, but I mean pretty much the entire Muslim world. And it's funny too, like some of the I guess at least what I've heard, but I actually think it makes them righteous. They're actually committing. I don't know if you'd call it a grave sin, but they're committing sin and they're idol worshiping because they're not listening to God and they're listening to their leaders and hadiths and sunnahs, and they actually think that they're more righteous, right, than people who aren't doing this, who aren't doing or following the tyrannical Arab traditions. And this is you can see it doesn't make any sense as well, and that that it's Satan that comes up with all these distortions, and I mean those who follow, and we can see this leads people to be miserable. I mean you can see, I mean at least I can see and I can sense the misery of women who have been covered from head to toe. Maybe it's just uh, but they always look unhappy, and one can argue and say, well, you can't tell much from just looking at their eyes, but I mean, you can tell by the way they walk, and just and this is a result of idol worship. This is a result of following um, Satan's religion, right? Which essentially that's what it is. But also, looking at about subduing her eyes, this goes for both the women and goes both for the men and the women. That this is a commandment, right? And to not stare at the women, to maintain their chastity. This is pure for them, and God is fully cognizant of everything that we do. Because naturally, this really should always come naturally for us too. But of course, in days of ignorance and stuff, we before submission, we might not have been, acting in such a way. But this is clarifications and correction to the way we used to be. And also, we have the very specific details about, who and, for the women and relaxing their dress code and the presence of, their family members, as we read, and other people who, such as male male servants or employees whose sexual drive has been nullified, and then the children who have not reached puberty. And also, not striking your feet when you walk, and this is not this is pure, as God is telling us. These actions aren't just this is for our own happiness, and this is for our own um, purity too, And submitters are gonna love this because they, as God tells us in the Quran, they love to be purified, right? As you read in verse 30, this is, not staring at the women, etc., subduing her eyes. This is pure for them, and also to maintain the chastity too. This is also a part of the verse as well. And that at the end of the verse 31, that we all shall repent to God that we may succeed. Verse 32, encourage marriage to discourage immorality. You shall encourage those of you who are single to get married. They may marry the righteous among your male and female servants if they are poor. God will enrich them from his grace. God is bounteous knower. And so, yeah, this is a good thing to do to encourage, single, um, the single believers, submitters among us to get married because this, as we see, this discourages immorality, and not that and we also keeping in mind that not to rush into anything, of course, but this is God is the best provider. This is a good encouragement, but of course, there has to be there's stipulations behind this. There has to be love. There has to be actual love for the person, and they also it's in your best interest. I mean, and in their best interest that they're one who have submitted to God and they're not an idol worshiper. Because if you marry an idol worshiper, even if they're from another monotheistic faith, in hopes of them coming around to the truth, I mean, you could find yourself in, in a lot of trouble later on. And I think I remember the messenger was talking about this, but I won't say too much on that as far as what he had said, as to not have any ambiguity, unless I can pull the actual information up from the transcripts. But having love and marrying someone who is a monotheistic submitter to God, this is very important, not to rush anything and to take your time and getting to know the person. You can't. I mean, I know there are cases like when people talk about love at first sight, but maybe that's valid. But you also, even if that's the case, you also should get to know the person, of course, and see if y'all are compatible. So verse 33, those who cannot afford to get married shall maintain morality until God provides for them from his grace. Those among your servants who wish to be freed in order to marry, you shall grant them their wish once you realize that they are honest. And give them from God's money that he has bestowed upon you. You shall not force your girls to commit prostitution seeking the materials of this world. If they wish to be chaste, if anyone forces them, then God, seeing that they're forced, is forgiver, merciful. So there's a lot to unpack from this verse too. Um, Hopefully, I covered the last couple last verses. Okay. sometimes I think I might miss a few points, but that's what discussion is for. Mashallah. But yeah, going back to verse 33, um, yeah, we see God, uh, we're reminded that God is the one who provides. God will even provide us our spouses. I mean, He arranges everything, right? And to have patience is the best. For those who are single, and also to be optimistic too. But um, and we're also told amongst those who are amongst the servants who wish to be freed in order to marry. They're supposed to, be given their freedom, right? Allowed to marry once they're established as honest people and honest. Um, so if they're not honest, then I mean, we of course, but they're granted their wish once we realize that they're honest, and maybe I don't know how today, I mean, there's still people, still families who probably have servants and stuff. You know, maybe not as often as you'd see in the United States, but this is still relevant, of course, today. And also, we're told to and to give them from God's money. So it's their it's a form of gives charity to here. But this is once you realize that they're honest people. Mhm. Here's another verse. Part of verse 33 is about forcing your girls to commit prostitution, seeking the materials of this world. Because we see this, more often than not, that people will arrange or try to assign uh, or set up marriages, between their daughters and amongst their families and stuff. Not to say that like arranged marriages are inherently bad. I mean, there's a lot of arranged marriages that could work out and do just fine, but forcing your daughters or your girls to commit prostitution, meaning marrying and having relations with someone for number one that they don't love, or number two that it's just beneficial to the parents, as we see seeking the materials of this world. So I mean, we see this. This happens often. Eventually, at some point, these people probably end up getting divorced because the girl isn't happy and that she was forced into such a marriage for some material gain on behalf of the father or the mother, whatever the and even if such thing happens, or such a situation unfolds like this, God sees this. He's forgiving, most merciful. And this is I always thought this was pretty, um, I guess, interesting, like in the sense of the wisdom here, because it's referring to this as prostitution. I mean, this really, if you really think about it, this is it is a form of prostitution. Seeking the materials of this world and forcing your daughters to marry. And then, of course, with marriage comes the consummation. So, yes, this isn't, and this is, I mean, this naturally, too, this is a violation of someone's free will. Again, right? You can't force somebody to love somebody or force somebody to marry somebody. I mean, this is, we're all been given freedom. And that's why, especially, extreme libertarianism was the messenger's. He said he was extreme. He advocated for extreme libertarianism, maximum freedom for the people. So there's not, forcing people, forcing girls to commit prostitution in this sense. We can see this still happens, maybe not as much in the United States today, but we see this is still happening across the world, and of course, the Middle East and reveal to you clarifying revelations and examples from the past generations and an enlightenment for the righteous. So there's all these good examples that we just read, that we've read up until this point, since starting from Surah 1, and there's so many good examples and from the past generations, things that we can learn from, and we know, only those who are appreciative are gonna be grateful for such enlightenment, right? And these are because we know it helps us, and it helps us. It's our guidebook to God willing returning back to God, happy. I mean, everybody's gonna return back to God, right? But those who return back to God are happy and get to be with God forever and hereafter. That's the ultimate triumph, and that's what we're all seeking here. Verse 35, God. God is the light of the heavens and the earth. The allegory of his light is that of a concave mirror behind a lamp that is placed inside a glass container. The glass container is like a bright pearl-like star. The fuel thereof is supplied from a blessed oil-producing tree that is neither eastern nor western. Its oil is almost self-radiating, needs no fire to ignite it. Light upon light. God guides to his light whoever wills to be guided. God thus cites the parables for the people. God is fully aware of all things. SubhanAllah. So this is like really a beautiful verse that God is telling us about the allegory of God and God's light, and even just trying to imagine how awesome this is, and thinking about a pearl-like star and the brightness, and then the fuel thereof that is supplied from a blessed oil-producing tree, and that, mashallah, and I like the part that it says it's not Eastern or Western. This is most fitting for God because he's the first and the last, right? He's the Alpha and the Omega. That and that is oil. So not Eastern nor Western, meaning that there's it's allegorical in that sense too, but he's, it's not one end or one or the other. That he's omnipotent, and then light upon light. That even the oil, as allegorically speaking here, but the oil itself that is blessed needs no fire to ignite. It's self-radiating, so it's light upon light. And it's praise be to God. And and if we think about how lucky we are to have God, and how lucky we are to have our existence, right, and our creation, and to be here as our third and final chance, even though we don't remember the great fear, that knowledge is with the soul, of course, and when we shed this body, all of that will be remembered. But there's infinite amount of blessings that we have from our Creator, and especially in this book, that he sent down to us, and that's he lets us know that it's from him, through the mathematical miracle. I mean, even if you try to imagine like how awesome this is, this is allegory, so we can think about these things in like ways we understand about concave mirrors and inside a glass container, really like the pearl-like star. Because if you look at like how beautiful and bright some of these stars are, like the bright star, which is I think a also are in. And it's really awesome. God thus cites the parables for the people. God is fully aware of all things. Verse 36. God's guidance is found in houses exalted by God, for his name is commemorated there, and glorifying him there and day and night. Those who frequent the masjid, people who are not distracted by business or trade from commemorating God, they observe the contact prayer Salah and give the obligatory charity zakah, and they are conscious of the day when the minds and the eyes will be horrified. God will certainly reward them for their good works and will shower them with his grace. God provides for whomever he wills without limits. So this is verse 36 is telling us that God's guidance is found in houses exalted by God. And this is interesting because and we also know that it's found in places exalted by God, but specifically talking about houses here, homes that commemorate God and glorify Him there and day and night. And these are places and locations that are blessed. And I really like verse 37. Well, going back to verse 36 too, and mashallah, how I like how it comes after verse 35 about that which says God guides to his light whoever wills to be guided. And so such guidance is found, such light is found in houses exalted by God. So this is the light. The light here too is the light is not just physical light. Just like the allegory that we just read. In comparison of the light and the darkness. Light, you can see things. You can see the shapes, the colors. You can. It's much more than this, but you can be guided right through this. Just like verses which we'll get to in a minute about the other allegory of total darkness and exile from God, which is you can't see anything. You can't even see yourself. You have no guidance. You have no eyesight. And this is of course allegorical, which we'll get to. But the people who frequent the masjid, people who are not distracted by business or trade, that observe their contact prayers and give the obligatory charity. This is gonna. These are the traits of somebody who, as the verse continues on and says, they're conscious of the day where their eyes and minds will be horrified, and they believe and they know it's the truth, right? And so this is exactly why, not exactly why they're doing such things and they're worshiping God, but this is part of their belief system. This is part of their religion. That they've heard the call and they believe in God and they're preparing themselves for such a heavy day. And this is a day, as the verse says, when the eyes and the minds will be horrified. And of course, the horrifying will be coming from those who disbelieved in this day and did not prepare themselves for the big day. That's the purpose behind our creation is to worship God, and not just worship God under certain circumstances, but under all circumstances, and through the ups and the downs, and to maintain steadfastness. And we have a huge head start with our natural instinct, but we also, having the Quran here and a clarifying book, and with clarifying revelations and light. This Quran is light. but it's only going to be heeded by those who want to come to God's light. And will, and of course, on the day of judgment, the people that fail to purge themselves or nullify all their whatever soul growth they may have had through idol worship, worshiping some helpless human being, worshiping themselves, or etc., or not believing that God is doing everything. This essentially is if they enter the hereafter in such a state, this can nullify. So, this is being conscious of such a day, the hereafter is naturally going to set your foundation, right? It's going to set the foundation so before we do something, before we're dishonest with somebody, not that this would even cross our mind, but we can see that, uh, I mean, there's a lot of more people than, get older, and not that I'm old or anything, but I mean, I guess, you could, but, but I guess what I wanted to say, as the longer I've been in submission, it's to my surprise at how bad people can be, and how many. I mean, for people who have been in submission much longer than I have, like a few of the brothers here and stuff. I mean, this is they see this and they mentioned it, but like seeing this for myself as time goes on, that the amount of dishonesty and fake submitters that come in. These aren't people who are conscious of this day. They act like they're conscious of this day, but we can see that people who are really conscious of this day and that observe their contact prayers and give the obligatory charities of zakah are not going to, lie and be liars and full of deceit to other submitters. And I'm bringing this up because these are issues that affect our community. These are issues that have affected and probably will continue to come. But we don't worry about these things in the sense of dwelling on them because we know God is the ultimate protector and these people will be exposed. But we can see what the verse, how the distinguishment, the verse, the verses discuss. People who do believe in this day aren't going to be doing these types of things, or even if they do, right? Their quote unquote unhealthy decision. They're going to immediately repent and implore God for forgiveness, and they would find that God is forgiver, most merciful. He is the forgiver, most merciful one. But of course, these people don't deserve to be purified. Most of them, so they're kept in total darkness, right? Chasing a mirage, 39. As for those who disbelieve, their works are like a mirage in the desert. A thirsty person thinks that it is water, but when he reaches it, he finds that it is nothing. He finds God there. Instead, to requite him fully for his works, God is the most sufficient reckoner. So this is a really interesting verse too, because when what comes to mind for me is all these people, that are going to be the worst losers if they don't reform. But all these people who are chasing some type of mirage. But I think about people who are worshiping idols, really, and worshiping Jesus and worshiping Muhammad. Because these are disbelievers, they're idol worshippers. They disbelieve in the most gracious. They disbelieve in the revelations in their own books, in their Bible, and the Quran. They've disregarded the true teachings. And so their works, they think they're righteous, but their works are akin to a mirage. They a thirsty person, they think that it's something good. They run to their idols. They run thinking that it's water and that it's going to provide for them or that it's going to get them to heaven. And but we can see, but when a person reaches it, and I understand, like I'm thinking about this in the context of the day of judgment, right? When this person gets to the day of judgment, he'll find that he was worshiping nothing, he or she. When I say he, I'm not just talking about me. I know that, but but they'll find out that it was nothing, that they're worshiping nothing, and that then they'll find out that God there is. They'll find God there instead. They're not going to find any of their idols, and they'll find that God is the ultimate truth, and that they're going to be requited for fully for their works, uh, and that God is the most efficient reckoner. So this is in God's sights. I mean, this is really awesome. Like how we're all these parables, both we're told about the guiding light, God's allegory, and this is what people are trading away, for nothing. They're trading light and the supreme creator, possessor of infinite majesty, the most honorable Lord, the most noble, the sovereign, the peace, the most gracious, the most kind, strict in force and retribution, the avenger, most powerful. They're trading this away for these flimsy nothings. I mean, they're worshiping nothing. This is why, we're reading verse 40. I'll speed it up because we're just hit 40 minutes. But this is why we can see that they're in total darkness. So, exile from God, total darkness. Another allegory is that of being in total darkness in the midst of a violent ocean with waves upon waves, in addition to thick fog, darkness upon darkness. If he looked at his own hand, he could barely see it. Whomever God deprives of light will have no light. So just we'll cover these real quick. So yeah, this is an allegory for being in total darkness, and this is the same. If you're worshiping idols, you're worshiping yourself. You're worshiping some type of human. You're worshiping nothing, and even if these people think that uh, they have some type of water, they have some type of provision, that they're on the right path. It's just they're just chasing a mirage. And then this is well, that was the verse before, but this verse is akin to being in complete darkness as far as their guidance goes, and they can't produce anything, they can't do anything, and this is they can't change their situation unless God allows it to be. And the decision that these people can make is either to be with God or with Satan, as the messenger has clarified. That's really the decision that we have free will over, right? That's really the decision that we have free will. When it comes to freedom of choice, we either choose God or we choose Satan. And after that, we're either guided by God or we're messed up by Satan. And God takes care of everything else. And God is doing everything. Yeah, I'll just read these verses and then we can open the discussion. 41. Do you not realize that everyone in the heavens and the earth glorifies God, and even the birds as they fly in a column? Each knows its prayer and its glorification. God is fully aware of everything they do. To God belongs the sovereignty of the heavens and the earth, and to God is the final destiny. Do you not realize that God drives the clouds and gathers them together and piles them on each other? Then you see the rain coming out of him. He sends down from the sky loads of snow to cover whomever he wills, while diverting it from whomever he wills. The brightness of the snow almost blinds the eyes. Okay, so with this being said, mashallah, if there's any comments or questions, please feel free. Thank you.
Mashallah, thank you. Good study. I had a comment. Oh, well, I mean, you said something about love at first sight. Um, I didn't quite catch that, so I just wanted to see if you could repeat what you were saying about that.
Well, I think it was in context of verse. I forget exactly what I said, but
I thought you said something about love at first sight being valid or something.
well, I said it could be valid, like in the sense if it ends up working out, like I guess. But I said if it's not, I said it's not.
Like what? I mean, okay, so what would be love at first sight? Like what is love at first sight in your opinion? Like you see somebody and you fall in love instantly?
Well, no, like in the sense of if you see somebody and you have, I guess you have intuition or a feeling, and then you get to know this person, and
Mm-hmm.
it ends up
Right.
working out, and they're righteous, then
Right.
that's like love at
Right.
first sight to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So I think this could be this could be stated in a way that doesn't create a misunderstanding among people, because what love at first sight to people, people don't understand what love means, right? As a submitter, we understand what love is, and the messenger of the covenant explains that, like, it's not something magical, like it's very real, very tangible, in the sense of that, you get to know a person, you know and you get to know them, you get to know their qualities, you get to know their likes and their dislikes, their temperament and everything, and based on that, he said, you either love a person or hate a person, right? Now this is something everybody can relate to, right? But like, so love doesn't happen on first sight. Like, you may like someone on first sight, right? But love is something that happens
It grows,
as you
yeah,
get to know the
yeah,
person, as you get to know their habit, as you get to know who this person really is, right? And that takes a lot of time, right? Like, significant amount of time, like over a year at least, right? To know these things. So like, love at first sight,
I
as
guess
the
that,
people
yeah,
know it, as what the people think, that doesn't
it's not,
exist, yeah,
yeah,
because people get infatuated, their hormones or whatever it is,
yeah.
or how they're
I'm not
feeling about
talking.
their day. Yeah, no, I understand, but I just want to clarify for other people,
Yeah, yeah,
that love at first sight, as what people think. Love at first sight, there's no such thing, right? Like, yes, but I see what you're saying, in the sense that, of course, if you're gonna fall in love with someone, you could fall in love with them, you could like them from the beginning, and you could be right all along, right? Like, versus someone that you don't like, and then over time you start liking them, but that usually doesn't isn't the case,
yeah.
well, maybe it's, I mean, it happens in the movies anyways, right? But the thing is, yeah, I mean, love is something that doesn't happen in a second. It's something that develops over time, manifests itself over time, as we get to really know the person, their likes and dislikes. So that's what I wanted to say. And I think it was one of the thing I think was about the arranged marriages. I think about the arranged marriages you were saying being valid. So I wanted
Uh,
to get your
yeah, the
understanding on that.
messenger. So I was just going off of what the messenger said. Their arranged
Hmm.
marriages. He did say that arranged marriages can work out. He said, like, I'm not saying that it's correct. I don't personally. I mean, I wouldn't be an advocate of something like that. But he said there's instances where where families like assign their daughter and their son like at a
Hmm.
young age to get married, and they grow up and they end up working out. So that's what I meant.
Right, but what were you saying? That, I mean, in the sense that it's okay.
Well, if it happens, then it is what it is. I guess in the sense like
Okay,
it could be okay, but like in the sense of
so I think maybe you should watch it again, because in that same audio that you're talking about, he is saying that arranged marriages are done all over the world, and a lot of them are very successful. But he says, um, in the same one, he is saying that it is prohibited in the Quran, uh, because usually, because like, arranged marriages is usually, the way they're done is, they're usually done against the people's will, like in India,
yeah,
Bangladesh, all these
yeah,
countries,
yeah.
you
I
know.
talked about that after. I said that
Right.
these are violations of people's free will. Yeah, yeah, maybe I didn't.
Right. Yeah, maybe I didn't get that part, because actually, the reason why I bring it up is because there are people in submission that are doing arranged marriages, and because of culture, whatever, and they're doing it for their kids and stuff, and that's
Yeah.
sad,
It's bad. Yeah. Yeah. I also
Yeah.
said that most of these arranged marriages they end up in divorces too.
Hmm.
I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not promoting arranged
No.
marriages or
Yeah.
anything. I was just saying that like
Right.
if I guess for those like if they happen to like be
Hmm.
victims or something, I probably should have clarified better. But yeah, if they're like a victim, because I wouldn't want to be told who to marry. You know, of course,
Hmm.
like the odds
Well.
of that because of how, especially thinking too, like how low the
Hmm.
odds are. I mean, even just
Hmm.
finding somebody compatible, and then like, and then if you're, I mean, even that. I mean that takes time and stuff, and if
Hmm.
you have somebody assigning like violating your free
Hmm.
will, essentially, this isn't, it's not, probably
Hmm.
not going to end up working out. And I
Hmm.
think that's when I might have said I'd have to go back and listen, but I think
Hmm.
that's when I said there are
Hmm.
some that have worked out. Just
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, they're not definitely not good. I agree.
Hmm.
Yeah, the love at first sight thing, I probably should have clarified more. But yeah, like in the
Hmm.
sense, I probably shouldn't have used that because it's
Hmm.
like you have
Yeah, I mean, you could
I guess
like a person at first sight.
yeah. That's kind of what I was like. You find somebody or you see somebody and then you have a good
Hmm.
feeling about them, and then
Hmm.
as time goes on, those feelings are validated. Because
Hmm.
you end up it ends up working out, and you look back and you're like,
Hmm.
oh, that was. But yeah, like in the sense of like right, like I think there's a lot of like I guess indoctrination. I don't know if it's purposely or not, but like in movies and
Hmm.
stuff, and in people that when most of the time, like yeah, it could just be lust or just
Hmm.
like as they say, like it's you're not thinking correctly. It's
Hmm.
infatuation, and that's
Hmm.
not a substitute
Hmm.
for real love. Yeah, don't worry, I'm not living in fantasy land.
I know. What's up?
So,
Yeah, thank God. And yeah, also I like what your comments about encourage marriage to discourage immorality. Like, I mean, of course, that's what I mean. It says you shall encourage those who are single to get married, but it doesn't say like you should push people, force them to get married, even if they aren't ready or they don't even like someone.
right, yeah,
And it's
yeah,
not like God says
definitely.
like, you know, and yeah, obviously that would be a mistake.
Yeah, too, especially because like you could have parents and stuff that are
Hmm.
and they're not even doing it. I think maybe it's not their fault. Well, I'm not trying to make excuses, but like you realize that they might be doing it more for themselves. They might want grandchildren or something, and that
Hmm.
they're saying comments and stuff
Hmm.
like, oh, you need to, and it's like, well, okay, what if I listen to you and I go rush into
Hmm.
finding something and you meet the wrong person and you end up with like
Hmm.
all types of problems, and where if you would have just maybe had
Hmm.
more patience and stuff. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
I see that happening too,
Hmm.
which isn't good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first you want your own children to be happy, and then you should, want the grandchildren. I mean, of course, once you find somebody, then and
Yeah,
then even after that, wanting grandchildren is like, grandchildren are it's all in God's hands. If God wants
hmm
you to have grandchildren and doesn't want you to have grandchildren, you're not going to have any grandchildren. You know.
yeah, exactly.
So. And it also does sound kind of selfish too. Obviously, if they're doing it, encouraging you for the wrong reasons too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah. And that happens more often than not. I think.
Hmm.
But maybe more. Well, I was gonna say more from the father's side, but that's
Talking about your father.
Yeah, you remember that guy? Remember a while back?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was like a couple years ago. But yeah,
See.
I was like, man,
Hmm. So we started 2020,
yeah,
24,
20,
24.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
20.
Yeah. Yeah, mashallah, verse 35 is really beautiful, even though it's allegorical and it's really it's a bit difficult to put your head
Mhm.
around the
Yeah,
entire example,
yeah.
but you can tell from reading it that the about God's light, it's going to be something beautiful, and but for the disbelievers, I mean, they're not going to be able to withstand God's light. Even on the day of judgment, they'll not be able to withstand God's physical presence, and God says that they will be blind. They will not even be able to see God. They'll be
Mhm.
resurrected blind.
Yeah, I remember. So I thought about that verse like that. I think that's in Surah
Hmm.
17.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, uh, and then yeah, so that's probably yeah because they can't withstand God's physical presence. Because we know that's why these people have to run for
Hmm.
hell.
Hmm.
But I never thought about it like that. Like that
Hmm.
makes sense, you know. And it's probably too that that instead of enjoying something that's so great and would cause so much happiness, to someone,
Hmm.
uh, to a believer like who makes it, fortunate enough to make it and develop their souls, like they would actually be the source of their misery, you know.
Hmm.
And it's really something.
Hmm. Yeah, Masha. Also, going back to the discussion about dress code, verse 30, you know you mentioned, like, uh for example, how, as it says in the footnote, it says, tyrannical Arab traditions have given a false impression that a woman must be covered from head to toe, such as not a Quranic or Islamic dress, and of course, that's all you see. That's the only thing that these people adopt as a dress code, which is not Islamic. The first thing they do is they become Muslim. Is they start wearing these headscarves and they start covering their body, and they think that, oh,
Mhm.
this is makes me Muslim. And they
Yeah,
forget about,
yeah, bro.
obviously, it drives the focus away from the actual pureness and actual devotion, to God alone, because, of course, these are diversions by Satan also, and repelling other people from submission. I mean, they look at it and they're like, okay, well, you want me to, oh, so this is what I'm gonna look like.
Yeah, you have to grow you have to
If
grow
I
the beard, and yeah, you have to grow this large beard and then wear the like for the men they have to wear those hats or whatever.
yeah, but I mean, for the women, because,
Women
like,
too. Yeah.
they're, I mean, women like to look presentable, I guess, and, like, covering themselves in this way, like, the verse is talking about men, and women subduing their eyes, right? And if you hear these extremist, so-called Muslims, when they defend, these head to toe dresses, Islamic, so-called Islamic dresses, and similar along the same lines, like not wearing makeup, etc. They say, no, no. The reason why they're saying no hair will show, because that, will provoke like emotions or feelings in the man. So, like, if a woman wears lipstick, no, no, she can't wear lipstick. She's prohibited, because if a man sees it, it's going to provoke this and that. But the thing is, obviously, they don't practice the part where God says you should subdue your eyes. So women don't have to. completely, be blocked in this way and imprisoned in their own bodies, just so the men don't get, men are supposed to subdue their eyes,
They're trying to run
uh
from the test.
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
and of
they're
course they have no
obsessed.
intention of running from the test. They just want to oppress the women, so that's really their main thing. And of course, this is what we see, all these religious extremists do. The first thing they do is they come and start to oppress the women, and
Yeah, and
this
it's
is.
very repulsive for people too. Like not just for the
Hmm.
women, but like
Hmm.
I know I mentioned it to you before, but
Hmm.
I guess maybe I shouldn't feel this way towards Eric, but I don't know. But
Hmm.
I look at them and
Yeah.
I just every time I see them, they just have this long look on their face and like
uh
and then it's just like they're yeah like you said like they're imprisoned,
hmm
and then it makes them too. They don't want to follow things, or they're grudgingly following things, and they just
hmm
uh,
hmm
they end up turning into like probably
rebels.
like yeah exactly yes.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was watching. I think this was some time ago. This Arab woman, she's from Saudi Arabia, and she goes all in a headscarf and stuff, and then she goes straight to hotel with her friends, and she takes off her headscarves and start drinking wine with her friends. It's like a common thing.
Yeah, that really wait, so she's a Muslim.
Yeah, like in Saudi Arabia, I guess.
Saudi Arabia. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I
Yeah,
like.
didn't you say that someone commented before to you, said you asked them, or you were trying to invite them
Uh huh.
nicely about I think the correct way and what the Quran says, and then they said the woman said something
Uh
about
huh.
like oh, I have my dignity,
Yeah, because
like
I have been. I said, "Why are
yeah
you
like
wearing a headscarf?" She said, "This is not Quranic or Islamic." And I was like, "Oh, why am I wearing a headscarf? Because I have dignity." And then she blocked me. That's a live chat.
yeah, it's yeah, it's interesting because it's like these people actually think that they're doing like they're
Mm-hmm.
more. They actually probably look down on the people, and
Uh,
not not that we care about it like the way they're thinking, but it's if she makes a comment like that, so she's basically indirectly referring to all other women who don't wear
yeah, they
headscarves and
don't
do
have
not
to.
have the dignity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's saying, and that's not right. And we can see that. Yeah, she that's wrong, very wrong. I think you went on mute, brother Suleiman.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just thinking about what you were saying earlier about the submitters, and how some people who are fake submitters, and I mean, that's something that has always existed. And I think I just recently also came across an audio where the messenger was talking about it. As recently, he was talking about the hypocrites, which uh, which shows that this is nothing new that we're seeing. Yeah,
Like the comment when I was saying that
yeah.
I'm seeing more of this. Like it's yeah, is that the part you were talking about too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is because I was thinking last night, and it was like I was thinking about Gafar, and like it's like man, like why are these people
Mm-hmm.
like why is it so many of them? And you don't you know you look at these people and you I mean of course we all like trust each other like when they're as our brothers and sisters
Mm-hmm.
and until proven otherwise, but like you're like no,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way that somebody will do something like that, or they're not going to be that way, or they're not. And then you find out like as we
Mm-hmm.
did yesterday and then a couple weeks ago, it's like it's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as time goes on, it's more I guess it's more surprising, and then you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just also noticed one thing, so I think like what has happened in some of those audio transcripts where the messenger is saying something like, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah or some stuff like that in
mhm.
Arabic. So there he has actually removed the English and it's just in Arabic.
Also
So
like the
yeah,
Arabic, yeah,
yeah. So the thing is, someone who doesn't read the Arabic characters obviously
yeah,
cannot read
they're
it.
not gonna know. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So this
interesting because I never
we can fix it.
fix that. Yeah,
Yeah, using you know what? Yeah,
yeah, I can probably I can just
yeah,
write a script or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then yeah. So this was the one I think I was thinking about. Um, yeah, he said, "Were we not when?" He said, "Didn't we come to the Quran study with you?" He was talking about, I think, in one of the audios about the hypocrites. And we're not with you. We didn't sit. Weren't we sitting with you in the Quran studies? And
Yeah, yeah, really, it's yeah. Also, I think he was in the sermon too. You know, there was a sermon. He was yeah, like what are these people even doing? You know, like that they're coming to the
hmm
Quran studies and they have the Quran in front of them and they're with us,
hmm
and then they know like the traits, they know how they're supposed to be, and not that they're like,
hmm
oh, I'm being forced, I have to be righteous or I have to
hmm
be nice and I have to be true. Like, no, you should,
hmm
it just comes, it just happens, and you like
hmm
being that way, and then they're not the end of finding that they're not, and yeah, like they can't actually believe in accountability or anything, like yeah,
hmm
that, uh, they must not actually believe in what they're reading in the Quran because they would actually follow it. You know, they would actually
hmm
not. And like I said in I think when I was talking about verse 37, it's not to say like when we slip and make mistakes, but we immediately we repent, and like what I was saying
hmm
earlier too, like they would find
hmm
that God is forgiver, most merciful, and you implore God forgiveness, and like really, and then fix themselves, and they would race to do this. I would think so, but they don't care, and then they just defend themselves, like defend, and then it's even worse too. Like I didn't really too think about that verse when it says, "Do not." I think it was from Sir, maybe Sir. Was it from what Sir? But that verse, I said, yes, Sir. 33. It says, "Do not obey them." Do not obey the hypocrites. And then like yesterday, it's like that, kind of seeing that for the first time, that they would want to trick you, even to
hmm
the point of gaslighting you.
hmm
After they've been exposed and they've been called out, and the more I even thought about the situation, like even from Brother Joffer's point, like it's so bad. Like even if you weren't caught in lies, multiple lies, and this dishonesty, just I was just rethinking. Like
hmm
that's not characteristic of somebody who actually either want help, and that type of double dipping, triple dipping, manipulation,
hmm
and just outright hoarding and greed when that could be going to somebody else. That's it's yeah. It's like it's very sickening.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's very
exactly, exactly. But the thing is, let's say, you know, let's say if you're in a community where there's a lot of charitable people there, you know, and let's say you only need 1,000, but you ask for charity and you get 2,000. I mean, that's okay. But
Mhm.
what's not okay is you lying to people. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you lying to people is not okay. You know, and you deceiving them and tricking them. You know, I mean, that's so evil. And only a hypocrite will be evil enough and like um like not have the character to not even feel what they're doing. You know, like God says, you know, their hearts become shielded by their sins, so they
right.
don't even feel a thing
Yeah, makes
when they're
sense.
doing these things. You know, they're evil people. And so like you can't live with yourself if you do this to other people. You know, like people say, you know, how do you sleep at night? You know, for evil people, you know, they don't have a problem going to sleep because they don't think twice about their actions. Their hearts are completely shielded by their sins. You know, they're so I mean hypocrites. That's why, they have the best place reserved for them in hell. You know, because they trick people with their words and deceive people. You know, with their words, they say they believe, but they don't believe. And I mean, there of course, when people come in submission, I mean, they're more likely to be hypocrites than believers. I mean, of course, because the majority of the people are going to go to hell. You know, there's going to be, I mean, most likely. I mean, I'm not going to give a percentage, right? But someone comes and
Yeah,
says they're a submitter. You know, if it's not half and half, they're more likely to be a hypocrite than a submitter. Because being a submitter is, they think it's easy. You just do your contact prayer, don't mention Muhammad, and give your 2.5%, which I don't even know if they do that. Probably don't. You know, and say they're submitters. But of course, nobody can fool God, right? Nobody can fool God, and God says that's why God says in trying to deceive
they
those who
only
try to
deceive
deceive God and
themselves.
those
Yeah,
who believe, they only deceive
yeah,
themselves. You know.
yeah. And it's hurtful. Like not that like
Yeah.
we take offense. I mean, we shouldn't. But at the same time, it is still hurtful. Like in a sense, like we don't let we don't care. Like we try not to let our personal selves get in the way. But like like if we're lied to or something, by these people, we don't take it like, oh, how could you lie to me and stuff. Like we,
Mhm.
it's more
Yeah.
than just that. We
Hmm.
like you're lying,
Yeah.
like you've tricked. Like it's a sense of like you came
Hmm.
into us and like you tricked us, and then you're supposed to be our brother, and then you're
Hmm.
lying, like you're setting a bad example too. And I didn't like really think about how I guess important the point that you had brought up. I think the other day or like right when this happened a few days ago was that it's hurtful to other potential submitters and believers or just people who need charity, who actually need charity, or let's say just came into submission or immigrating in the cause of God, or new and are struggling, because now you've set these people have set such a bad example.
Hmm.
They repulse, they repel
Hmm.
others, and they repulsed, in that sense. Um,
Hmm.
but may God protect us and allow us our charities to be most
Hmm.
go to the people most needing.
Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, God says that the believers. they're supposed to set the highest moral standards, the highest moral standards, right? And and when you're doing things like that, and then there are people that are defending it, or people that say, "Oh, it's fine, he made a mistake."
Or it's
So,
unhealthy to like the person themselves noted it, just like saying like, oh,
mhm,
an unhealthy
mhm,
decision, like that sounds
mhm,
eerily reminiscent of
mhm,
like just people I've
mhm,
seen and
yeah,
come through across life
mhm,
that like get exposed or get
mhm,
caught in
mhm,
something and they just try to like
mhm,
downplay it, like, oh, brother, like, or like, like mainly for talking about prior to submission, like, oh, that's just a little tad mistake, or like, no, that's not
mhm,
that's
mhm,
that's
yeah,
very bad, like.
mhm,
And no, you notice
yeah,
that's a reflection of how they, yeah, that's a
mhm,
reflection of them. And
yeah,
then also, yeah, the
yeah,
transgressors are allies, and
or
that's
one of them.
yeah, and it's also like a form, I think, of cognitive dissonance, if I'm saying that
Mm-hmm,
correctly. Like their own, their they themselves would gladly, or they don't find an issue with something like that because they themselves aren't
mm-hmm,
they don't have good hearts, and so that's why they make
mm-hmm,
excuses for transgressors, because they themselves either do it or they don't find an issue with doing it. And that's and these
mm-hmm,
types of people do come into submission, and this was which was like shocking, is like they pollute the religion, or they would seek to pollute it, and they set the worst examples for
mm-hmm,
people, future people, and they would try to,
mm-hmm,
yeah, like you said, they wouldn't, they compromise,
mm-hmm.
and
Well,
they don't have the highest moral standard.
Gemini says common causes include, for cognitive dissonance, common causes include forced compliance, decision making, and hypocrisy.
Yeah. Yeah, even Gemini knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, imagine somebody who defends the action uh, of someone committing adultery, for example,
Mm-hmm,
like two unmarried people
mm-hmm,
that are breaking God's law. I mean, what would you think? And they're saying they're a submitter. I mean, what would you think about this person? I mean, what is this? And of course, like, okay, like that's a gross sin, but I mean, in the sense, lying and like being dishonest with your fellow brothers, and that's a grave sin too. Like, in a way, especially with the insulting and stuff
mm-hmm.
that followed
Yeah,
on
and also,
after.
also another hypocritical thing is that, like, when we confronted him about this issue and said that he lied to all these people about, receiving money and all this stuff, and then he admitted it. Eventually he admitted it, and then to all the other hypocrites, you know he says, well, he did this and he did this and he didn't. I did this and he didn't understand, like he's misunderstanding, or apparently
uh,
that's what they were saying.
Misunderstood, of course.
So even admitting when he was caught, obviously because he was caught, you know but then even after all of that, like, it doesn't make sense, like he's going around and telling people like, yeah, he treated me badly. And this is the misunderstanding, and so they're coming up with ways to try to say that we were wrong. So these are not, obviously not all good signs, and these people should be very concerned about themselves. But of course it doesn't work that way. They, rather than looking inwards, they want to shift the blame outside, you know to the other person who's pointing out the obvious. So I mean, of course, this is also a sign of ego, right?
Mhm.
Where to see, your own flaws.
Right.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that's
and
why
then
we're
other
commanded
thing, yeah.
to kill our ego.
uh,
Mm.
and then another thing I want to mention is that when they do these things, they expect you not to say anything to anybody, and they accuse you of gossiping, and because they want to keep doing these things, uh, you know, um,
Their secrets have been exposed.
secretly, yeah, this, no, this, and yeah, and they secretly want to keep doing these things. So if you talk about it, obviously it gets them exposed. People find out about it, and then it becomes difficult for them to do these things. So they don't want people to know about it, like Abdul Salam. They don't want to mention their name, like Afari.
Sorghum,
They want to
yeah.
mention their name, Sorgul. They want to mention Rafael, these names, because then people know that these are the names behind these acts. And if you mention the names, then they're like, oh yeah, you're backbiting. But it's interesting because, like, when you look at the messenger of the covenant, as he's talking about all these events that are happening and all these hypocrites that came and went, he's mentioning them by name, and those
I
people are not
mean,
present
yeah.
in those discussions. So
Hmm.
people cannot, like, try to shut you up and make you feel guilty that you're doing something wrong by talking about a problem, especially if it can
It
affect other
affect,
people around
yeah,
you.
yeah. That's my
So,
thing. Like exactly, brother.
mhm,
Mashallah.
yeah.
Thank you, because that's important for other people.
Mm,
Because I mean, if you have a thief or a cheat,
mm,
I would want my brother, or I would want any random person,
mm,
non-submitter, to tell me like, hey, watch out for this guy. He's done this and he's done
mhm,
this, and then I
right.
would be very cautious when engaging if I happen to come across,
Mhm,
and be saved
mhm,
from such. I mean, no, yeah, it's important too, because I think
mhm,
it's not gossiping and backbiting. That's exactly what they would want to frame
mhm,
it, because then their
mhm,
evils and their sin has been exposed,
mhm,
and they don't
mhm.
like being exposed, so they come
Yeah.
up with all types of. I mean, in the same way, Satan doesn't want you talking about
Mhm. Yeah.
Satan. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
want you talking about the
Exactly.
ways he tricks people. He doesn't want you even thinking about, like, he wants to go undetected, and just like these people,
Mhm.
that's how they
Uh,
operate.
Yeah. That's why the government wants to censor you too.
Wait, what?
That's why the government wants to censor you too.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
So they can
Exactly. They
keep
don't, yeah,
keep
that's another
committing
good,
their
good building.
corruption.
I'll show that's a good example. They don't want people,
Mhm,
and they don't want people
mhm,
naming names either. Like if you
mhm,
say someone's
mhm,
name, they
mhm.
flag you up
That's
like,
why they're
oh,
redactions. That's why they're
yeah,
redactions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. A common trait amongst these people is they don't like, yeah, just like yeah, that recent one with the Christy Nome thing.
Uh-huh.
Not trying to turn this into
Right.
I mean, people say, I've more recent, I'll just say this real quick, like more recent days, when I've talked to people and they mention the word political, I kind of
Mhm,
stopped, like, in a nice way. I said, I stopped and was like, no, no, no. I said, this isn't political. Like, we're at a point in this day and age in the world, and this isn't just wishful thinking. It's a reality. It gets good and evil. Like, people want to say,
mhm,
oh, this is politics. Like,
mhm,
when we talk about these things, it's not one side. Like, it's not even
mhm,
politics. We have
mhm,
far beyond moved past that
mhm,
point, and this is literally,
mhm,
it's everyday life, good and evil. And
mhm,
people who want to, don't talk about, like, well, no, it's not
mhm,
about politics. Like, maybe
mhm,
10, 15 years ago, when things weren't insanely outrageous and vast corruption. But I mean, no,
mhm,
today it has moved way past that point. But yeah, back to my
mhm,
point, like how these people, just like her, she doesn't want you mentioning
mhm,
that their names and stuff, and they want their
mhm,
privacy, because they
mhm,
know what they've done, and know that,
mhm.
so yeah, this
Yeah.
is they want to go undetected. Yeah.
Mhm,
I mean, you have to talk about, like, these things too.
mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, and that other guy, Salm City or whatever. I
Mhm,
don't know his
mhm,
name.
mhm,
I think I had him on
mhm,
and he goes by name Kawa, Kawa, Swear,
mhm. That's a
Sweir.
different
Like,
person, right?
I clicked on somebody. I clicked on that person, and they had the same bio or something with S. It's like Psalm City. So I'm not.
Really?
I'm not. I think I'm pretty sure because when I unfollowed and unfriended this person, they had the same profile picture, and
Oh wow.
they had Psalm, the SALM
Oh.
city
Uh huh.
that's attached to them, and
Uh
I thought
huh.
that was strange.
Oh,
So,
that makes sense
so
because they were liking their own comments then.
yeah, yeah, these aren't righteous people. These are not
Mm-hmm.
people who want to be purified.
No.
These like the people that defend this type of
Mm-hmm.
behavior
Mm-hmm.
and these
Yeah.
transgressions. Like these are
Yeah.
not righteous people. These are not submitters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's the difference between I mean a submitter, like I'm just thinking, like that day when I got conned by that cab driver, in Turkey. Like, what's the difference between him and these people? Like, they're the same. You can call yourself a submitter if you want, if that makes you feel better, but you're not. If you're not obeying God, and if you're not being righteous, and you're conning people, by lying to them, and deceiving them in this way, like so clearly, like
Yeah,
how does that make you a submitter to God? This is not a submitter like trait to have. These are traits of hypocrites,
typical,
traits of
right?
disbelievers. May God, I mean, uh, help these people. I mean, really, there's so many. I mean, it's just that um, I've seen too much. Too much from too many people. It's like we want to see some real submitters.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Inshallah, in the
Yeah, that
future.
also had me thinking too. Like, I mean, I know, like, I haven't thought too much on this, and I think we've maybe kind of talked. I don't know if we've ever really talked about it, or not that we have to draw a conclusion, but like when
Hmm.
submission prevails, like
Hmm.
we know the major, like so many people are gonna come from all parts.
Hmm.
They're gonna come in throngs and stuff, but
Hmm.
we know that the majority of people don't believe in it. So out of the people that end up believing, most of
Hmm.
them are gonna end up
Hmm.
going to hell. So I mean,
Hmm.
does this mean that maybe either maybe one, like these people come into submission and then they turn out to be hypocrites, or two, they come into submission and then they just maybe disbelieve, or at some point and they revert, like Sir 44 said.
More like the first one, just like now you see people that many people say they're submitters, but you can see that a lot
Right.
of them are just not non-serious.
Yeah. Yeah, like even, at the time of the messenger, I just remember like he didn't have really I mean he didn't have too many good people around him.
Right, right, right,
Like
exactly.
even in the third conference, even that guy
Mm-hmm.
that I never liked the fact that I don't know who, maybe it was Ismail Barakat. I hope I'm not, but the guy in the blue shirt, like in the conference that got up there, and then he was saying like he was talking pretty loudly, like I think raising his voice around the messenger. Um, but like he was saying something like, by God, I couldn't, like I was prevented for him from asking if he was a messenger.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then this is what never set right with me, man. I never liked this from the day I saw the video, and that and he said something like, and if he said he was getting like if he had revelations or something about him
Mm-hmm.
getting, he's like, by
Mm-hmm.
God, I know he would be a liar. Like, why would you, like, how evil
Mm-hmm.
could you, like,
Mm-hmm.
why would you even think theoretically like that about the messenger? Why would you even
Mm-hmm.
mention or put or say to
Mm-hmm.
people in a crowd that if the messenger did this, then he would be a liar? Like you wouldn't
Yeah,
even,
because
you
he
know,
because he
he,
truly didn't actually believe he was a messenger. I mean, that guy was a hypocrite, and
yeah,
he's not a
yeah, and like,
submitter anymore.
yeah, what's his name? Ismail Barakat.
Ismail Barakat, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like that doesn't even make sense. Like you would even remotely, insult the like a scenario in the future, like that the messenger would even do. Like, why would you even bring that up? Like, and that's what I was like back. I didn't mean to digress. Hopefully, I did. But back to my point. Like these people, like they're around the messenger, and that they're, uh, you didn't
They're
have
not
like,
submitting. Yeah.
yeah, you didn't have a lot of submitters around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably, I mean, same thing with like Jesus. Jesus only had really
Mm-hmm.
12 believers, the 12
Mm-hmm.
disciples, and that was nobody else wanted to be a disciple. I guess
Mm-hmm.
like in a sense of in a sense of like following him and supporting him. That's
Yeah.
that's all that. That's all that. Like
Yeah. And let's say if there were 12, even we don't know exactly how many there were because.
right. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't think the Quran mentions it. It just mentions
yeah.
it. Just
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that also shows, that being in a majority is not necessarily a good thing, when people think about that.
Mhm.
They think that it makes them better that they have numbers. Of course, that's also something to think about. Also, I like the verse that talks about snow. The last verse you read, mashallah. God's design, is amazing. If you look at the snow crystals, also like they're so beautiful to look at, just to look at, and the properties that God has given water itself is just so amazing, and how God makes life possible. This is why God is mentioning this for us to think about all that.
Mhm. Yeah, like I'm just kidding.
Sorry, I had my microphone on mute. Yeah, they talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw a video on YouTube like about I think North Lake Tahoe, and like there was just basically like a video of these people filming themselves driving through all this snow.
Mm-hmm.
It was very like peaceful, and yeah, like to your
Mm-hmm.
comment, like
Mm-hmm.
these are really amazing, you know, amazing
So
things. Like
yeah.
we don't really have like
Yeah.
plus diversification like snow and rain and sunshine,
Mm-hmm.
hail,
Mm-hmm.
sleet, fog, like all and so much more, like
Mm-hmm.
so much more of these weather conditions. I mean, they're really
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Like the variety that God creates for us.
Yeah, inshallah. Yeah, I had an off-topic question also that I wanted to ask about. I was reading this morning, so this is um, this is in this is going to be coming in like a few studies from now. But I was reading the verse this morning, and I thought about it. This is regarding Surah 24, verses 58 and 59. So it talks about the private times for the spouses, right? For the couple. And it says in verse 58, permission must be requested by your servants and your children who have not attained puberty before entering your rooms, right? And then in the next verse, and it goes on, and in the next verse it says, once the children reach puberty, they must ask permission before entering, like those who became adults before them have asked permission before entering, right? So I was seeing this and I was thinking, so who have first is talking about who have not attained puberty, they must ask permission. And then again it says once they reach puberty, they must ask permission, right? Right. So what is that like? What is the difference? And then I mean I couldn't find first I thought I was reading it wrong and I couldn't find my answer. But then I looked at it again. In the verse 58, it says, by your servants and the children. And the first one who have not attained puberty, and then the second one says once the children reach puberty, they must ask permission, right? So I was wondering, okay, maybe it's talking about children who have not attained puberty. Maybe if the parents are away, the the children are with the servants, and if the children want to come in, like they need permission along with the servants that they must come in. But once they become adults, they can themselves ask permission. Like, did you understand the question?
I think I do. What if maybe because it says this is to be done in three instances, so maybe the instances, maybe other instances they can come in,
Yeah, other
like
instances they
before,
can come in, but we're talking about the three private instances, right?
right? So the
Private
three
times.
private instances. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe the children that haven't attained puberty, these are three private times. So regardless of whether you've attained puberty or not, even for those who haven't, they still have to ask permission. Versus maybe the next verse is talking about like once the children reach puberty, regardless, you must ask permission. So like I guess like if you're tired or something, you have your private times. Even if you have a little kid running around, your little child, uh, uh, and even if they haven't attained puberty, they still should ask for permission during the private instances. But like other instances, if they're still haven't reached puberty, like the children who haven't reached puberty yet, it's fine for them to come in. Like they don't have to ask permission outside of those instances. That's maybe, I guess.
No, these are three private times, right? So they will apply to you whether you have reached puberty or not. The private
Right,
times
right,
are
yeah.
private times, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
they should ask permission during those
Yeah, yeah.
times,
But
right?
other times, right? Other times that like any other time if they want to come in your room,
Mm-hmm.
they still have they don't have to ask for permission, even if they're still haven't attained puberty. But you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm you kind of see where I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like where the following
Okay,
verse is basically
you're saying that once they have reached puberty, they should ask permission always.
always, yeah, all the time. Like whether not just during the not during just the private instances, but like regardless, during non-private and any other time. I guess that's
Mm-hmm.
how I never thought about it until now, but I'm just
Mm-hmm.
that's a very good question, man.
Yeah, because I think if that was the case, like it would mention it, right? Like explicitly, like
Yeah, but it says so. Verse 58, it says, "Not attain puberty before entering your rooms," and then it says the specific times
mm-hmm.
where they're supposed to ask. Says this is to be done in three instances,
Mm-hmm.
but which I
These are three
guess
private
it's
times
out.
for you.
Yeah, yeah, three private times for you.
Mm-hmm.
At other times, it is not wrong for you or them to mingle with one another. But of course, that's not saying like that's
Mm-hmm.
just talking about
Mm-hmm.
mingling. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but I guess the way I was seeing it, like when it's saying this is to be done in three instances. So they have to whether they so even the children who haven't attained puberty, they have to ask for permission. But on other instances, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because if it was talking about maybe all the time, like
Mm-hmm.
it had, it wouldn't have, it would have just, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not mention those specific three instances. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's just
Mm-hmm.
my understanding. But
Right, right, right.
uh, could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a good question. I didn't think about
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, but verse 59 could also, just be
Mm-hmm.
still talking about just those three instances. So maybe I guess I could see where yeah. But Uh, yeah, I guess with 59, I look at that as like you have to ask permission at all times, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of makes sense too. Like, it does make sense because of, whether it's your private time, during three private times for you in three instances,
Mm-hmm.
or whether it's not, you just, you could be watching TV. You don't, you need to, you do need to ask for permission. No,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like no, yeah, a kid who hasn't attained puberty, he, if you're
Mm-hmm.
like up and you're not a private time, he could come running in the
Yeah,
room
right, right.
and then
Yeah,
shit,
I think you're
mom,
right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's not.
so the idea is, in summary, that the children who have not attained puberty, they should ask during these three private times only. But if they are adults, they should ask all times before entering a private room,
Mhm.
right? And must respect full privacy boundaries once they've reached puberty. But when they're young, they're considered innocent,
Yeah,
and you're just training them at that
yeah,
time, and they can move freely at other times without asking, right?
yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, I put that in Gemini too. Gemini said the same thing.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah. Gemini gave me a chart.
Mashallah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Almost other things. All right. So I guess if there are no other comments or questions, uh, uh, God willing, we can conclude.
Yeah, God willing.
Yeah. So, mashallah, thank you for leading the Quran study, brother. God willing, our next, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Huda, for joining the study. God willing, our next English Quran study would be on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. God bless you all.